Here's our part 3 of Talks with Jerry
And Paul.
and Paul. Here we have Paul,
Hello.
Our Paul,
Our
our traveler.
guest from England, from Coventry. Now we met in Kosів, in this place near the river. Okay.
So we're having a beer and some smelly fish, which is very tasty.
Let's drink. Okay.
Drink.
Cheers.
A new
Cheers.
new friendship.
New friendship. And he's not drinking Ukrainian beer either.
No, this is Czech. I think
This
it's
is
Czech.
Russian actually.
Yeah,
Baltic.
Baltica.
It's what?
Baltica.
It's Russian.
Oh, it's Russian?
Yeah.
I thought it was Czech.
No.
Well, I was in.
This is Czech. Żołtäcki.
Oh, that's Czech. Okay, all right.
So who's drinking the local then? Just me, the
This is
tourist.
local, totally local beer.
But I just got back from went over to Krakow, and to Prague. There's an inner city train that goes from that's traveling around Ukraine now. It's a very nice train, very nice.
Really?
Yeah, and it goes all the way to Prague.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And we took the inner city train from Kolomia up to Lviv. It only took 3 hours. And if you go by bus, it's about 6 or 7 hours, you know.
Yeah.
And so then we were in Lviv for maybe about an hour, and then we jumped on the train that took us over the border into Poland, and then we changed trains in Poland. We didn't have to, but we didn't know what the schedules were. Okay, if we knew, had better information about the schedules, we could have gone all the way to Krakow. But so we jumped off in Poland and then caught a train there and took us all the way to Krakow.
Okay.
And we stayed in Krakow, which is really a cool city. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that?
I've been there. First time I was in Krakow was, wow, 15 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was there.
Many
I
years
was
ago.
there in about 2004, I think. 2004. And I was amazed at the number of people that were there this time. Of course, when I was there in 2004, it was in like February, you know.
Well, I was there. It was 2001 in November.
In November.
And the weather was like shit.
Yeah.
But we went to Auschwitz.
Oh yeah, I went to
and
Auschwitz too. Yeah.
I sort of guess the experience. It was a grim November day, and you had the birds flying around the place.
Yeah. So when we went to Krakow, my wife asked me if I wanted to go to Auschwitz, and I said, once is enough. I don't want to go back to that grim place and look at that stuff and be reminded of the humane things that took place there. It's just absolutely amazing, the lack of humanity. And so, but there was many tourists. Many tourists in Krakow.
Yes, no.
And but we did go to a nice piano Chopin piano concert.
Concerto.
Yeah, which was very nice. And we went to the salt mines. Did you go to the salt mines?
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting.
Velička? Or what is that?
Yeah. Yeah, 700 years, and
Nice.
and the apparently the royalty at one time, they were getting like 40% of the revenue from the sale of the salt from that mine.
Wow.
Because salt was very valuable.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's like from the history books that I've read, honey was very valuable also. They didn't have sugar, and someone who had find a honey tree or a honey forest, something like that, and they'd protect it with their life because they can make a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
So we were in Krakow, and then we went, caught a very nice train from Krakow to Prague. It was a Czech
Railway.
Yeah, Czech railway, which is very plush. And we thought we bought first class tickets, okay, but when we get on there, they put us into a compartment that had 6 beds.
Really? So you're like in prison class.
6 beds, and you know, there wasn't enough room to breathe on that top bunk.
Wow. Like in
Really, I mean, you had to.
For slim guys only.
You squeeze into that top bunk, and I told these guys, hey, we bought first class tickets. No, you didn't, you know. I said, okay. He said, but I can get you a first class. I got one up here. It only cost you 40 euros. And I said, done, let's do it. So we went up there, and my wife and I had a nice car with just 2 beds. We had hot water and a sink, you know, and there's a
traveler.
Yeah, and there's a what is it? A medicine cabinet, you know, with the mirrors, you know, so you could do the cosmetic thing in the morning, you know, and when there's the common toilet in the car, and I walked down there, and there's a damn shower in there.
Wow, that's good. Nice.
There's a shower, and I couldn't believe it. And there's a couple Arab guys. They were looking at it. Hey, all right. And the water is very hot. Oh, and the toilets were like on an airplane. You push this button and it goes.
Flush.
Yeah, vacuum toilets.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that was pretty cool. And in the morning, the guy knocks on the door, and he gave us breakfast.
Wow, really?
So that was very cool.
How long was the journey? How many hours?
Oh, let's see. We left. We got there about 8 or 9 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning, I think. So it was, you know, it was. I don't know what time we left. 10 o'clock at night, and got there at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a good way to travel.
Yeah.
I've done that.
I mean, I like the trains rather than the buses. The trains are like far more sociable. You can relax better.
Yeah.
More comfort.
Yeah.
Often it might be slower, but who cares?
Yeah.
It's nicer.
Yeah. Well, then when we came back from Prague, all the way to Lviv on the train, and we had to change trains, but we had tickets, and when we came across Czech. And I forgot where we changed trains, but we went through the Carpathian mountain range. Beautiful, beautiful. There's a nice river running down through there, and here's guys out there, they're fly fishing, you know, in the river. Like, what the hell is this?
It's a nice part of the world.
Yeah, right. So, and then we get to the border of Ukraine. Okay, and we have to change trains. Oh, just before we got to the border, we had to change trains, and then we get to the border, and we had like a 2.5 hour delay because they had to change the wheels.
Oh, different gauge.
Yeah. So they have to, I guess they jack this train up, you know, and they just take the wheel assembly out and put a different one in there. And I've read that that was Stalin's plan. You know, that was for protection of Russia, because the enemy couldn't advance by rail into Russia. They, you know, because their trains in Europe were different. The train wheels were different.
Yeah.
I don't know what his plan was about going the other way. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, surely nowadays it makes more sense to just have you arrive on one train, you jump off, get on the next train, no changing wheels, just
yeah, that's right. It should be there should be a train there waiting for you.
Like far too
That's right. But we were coming into Ukraine, you know.
Okay.
They don't have that convenience yet, but it's getting there. You know, it's getting there. It's taken a while, but it's like in Kosів here, when I got here in 2003, we didn't have any supermarkets. We didn't have anything like this. You know, you go into a little, I don't know, lack of a better word, it's like a little boutique shop.
Yeah.
They would sell bread and eggs. Okay, that's all they sold was bread and eggs. And then you go to the next shop next to it and you could buy some sausage and cheese. Okay? And all the canned goods were behind the cashier. Now, you couldn't pick anything out. You'd say cucuruzza, bear, you know. And I didn't know many words at that time. I'd point and then it's this can. I said, no, down a little bit.
Down a bit. To the right, to the left.
What about now?
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you know more words?
Still the same.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But I also know. I also know to Ross.
He also knows left and
I
right.
didn't know any
Yeah.
words. Like,
Well, here now they even have a little. They even have a little push cart. You know.
Really?
Yeah, like a little push cart, and they have them for little kids with a flag on it. You know, little kids push these carts around.
21st century.
And I know the mayor of Kosів, and I tell him, I said, Yuri, you know, the place is getting better. He says, malo, you know, a little bit at a time, and it keeps getting better. And so now we have, I think we have 3 supermarkets. And at the time, we used to have 2 banks. We had Private Bank and Oshad. Oshad was an old Russian bank. Oshad Bank. Oshad Bank was a Russian bank. And Private Bank was owned by the son-in-law of the president, Kuchma. And he is a mafia guy. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this but it was a money laundering thing for a lot of mafia and that kind of thing. So now the government owns most of that bank too, Private Bank. And but now I think there's probably 5 or 6 or 7 banks in town. And they give loans, pay pretty high interest, but
What, for the loans or what about savings?
oh yeah, they've got savings. Savings they've always had. They've always had savings.
And the
But they
interest is
didn't
good or
want-
not good?
They, you know, you have a debit card, but there's no credit card, you know, because that means you have to somehow pay that with a check or something. But they don't have the credit card; they have a debit card. And but they do give consumer credit if people want to buy a new refrigerator. They can buy that on credit, but they go to the shop and then they have to go through an interview and you know, somebody, there's a representative of a bank in there, and they do an interview and ask questions and want to know where you work and how much money you have, what's your
And why
property.
you want the fridge?
Yeah,
What's it with the old fridge?
yeah. And then they would loan them the money with a pretty stiff interest rate. And the people didn't understand the interest, you know, how that worked. They just wanted that refrigerator, you know. So after they pay about 12 months, they want to come back and say, why am I still getting a bill? You know, I've been paying this for 12 months. Well, your interest rate is 20%. You know? So there's a learning process for a lot of these people. But it's amazing how the place is developed. And technology also is, it's amazing. When I got here, there were very, very few mobile phones, very few. And now, everybody has a mobile phone. Little old ladies with a bag over their back, they're talking on the phone. I don't know how they survived without these cell phones. So it's been fun. It's been fun to watch all of this. What interesting places have you visited, Paul?
no, what did you do in UK before? You ran.
What did I used to do in the UK before? Nothing. I didn't work
Okay,
it.
where are you from, Paul?
England.
Okay. Okay.
And you've been traveling for 2 years?
3 years. 3 years, yeah.
Traveling for 3 years.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. And you're going to, I haven't been to Rome. Well, I went to, just Suceava, Romania. I haven't been to Bucharest.
The last time I was in Romania, I come in the direction. I come from the bottom, and I went to Bucharest first.
Oh, yeah.
But now I'm just going the other way around because I'm getting this flight to Cyprus.
And what do you think about Bucharest? Is it an interesting place, or is it just a big old city with?
It's a big old city, and if I'm completely honest, with big old cities, I'd rather spend my time in Kiev than Bucharest.
Yeah.
But that's personal choice.
Was Bucharest destroyed in the war, during the Second World War? Do you know?
I don't know.
Now, see, Kiev was.
Yeah.
Most of it was destroyed. But Lviv wasn't. Lviv and Krakow, they were not. Apparently, the armies or the local government said, we're not going to argue or fight you guys. Just don't destroy our city. So.
Yeah, and possibly one of the reasons why Lviv is so popular with tourists now, because there's so much there to go and see from history.
Yeah. And Lviv, have you been to Lviv?
Yeah, I was there 3 years back, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it is now, they've opened up budget airlines to go to Lviv, so it's far easier to get to. It's even more convenient than before, so yeah.
And Budapest, you been to Budapest?
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Really like that place. I'd like to go back and spend some more time in Budapest. But Jordan and Petra is a place that I'd really like to see. Didn't the Taliban do some damage to that? Do you remember? Did they?
Where?
No, not Petra.
No,
I don't think.
Syria.
They wrote that Palmyra. Is it Palmyra? Yeah, they destroyed Palmyra in Syria.
In Syria.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they've not been into Jordan, so Petra's still as it's always been.
Still okay.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be nice to go there. I've not been to that part of the world for. They've been to all the Western European stuff, and I met them. They crossed the border and they were into Albania, and all of a sudden it's fucking hell. This place is like really, really nice country, and the money goes so much further. The people are friendly, and they actually said they were going to plan to come back to Europe again and only come to the Balkan region, because obviously the touristy bit is always Western Europe, isn't it? But yeah, they've done this journey and they discovered something else.
Yeah, there's the more Western countries. Although Spain. I was in Portugal a few years ago. And
I lived there. I lived there for a few months last year. Yeah, in opposite Porto, the other side of the river, in a fishing village. It was amazing.
Yeah,
several months. I loved it. Having that smartphone becomes almost. Besides having like a credit passport, the most important thing for travel.
Yeah.
If you can give me a passport and a few credit cards or prepaid cards and a smartphone, the rest is like irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Get it on the way.
Yeah.
Country by country.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The iPhone is just it does everything.
Yeah.
It does everything.
Well, no, get away. Not the iPhone, but any smartphone.
Yeah. I see these people come up with these things, and they just put it on the screen, and or even on the trains here in Ukraine. The people have got something there on their phone. They just show it to them, and they say, okay, get on the train.
But I mean, I was a previous iPhone user till mine got wet in Laos and died. Then I bought a Samsung, and the thing I like about the Samsung is it's not only waterproof, it's dual SIM. So I can keep my UK SIM card running, and every country I go to, bang, new SIM card in the front. So I can run dual SIMs at the same time.
Yeah, right.
It comes in quite handy.
That's great. Yeah, I don't have one of those. I just have a $20 phone that you know, it's almost a dial.
I know.
What, you actually phone people and
This is
speak
your
to them?
phone.
I want a phone. That's all I want. I don't want all that stuff
What,
in
and talk to people on the phone?
Yeah, that's
Nah,
what I use.
really?
I have a Chromebook.
Still do that?
I have a Chromebook.
Yeah, but
Okay,
they're cool,
that I-
aren't they?
I have a
Apparently.
little Chromebook, you
Yeah.
know, with the key with the keypad.
Yeah.
I like to use my finger on the keypad. You know, I don't want to do this and this and this. But and with the Chrome pad, you know, it's with Android there. You know, people don't break into it. There's no viruses. It's
Yeah,
all
because
sol-
Chrome's super secure,
it's all
like
all
Apple,
solid
but
state.
not like Microsoft. So yeah,
you
it's
don't
good.
have a hard drive there and
Yeah.
all that kind of crap on there. You know, it's very light.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I admire someone who's got the iPhone and they're doing all, and plus they've got 1 million pictures. You know, they've got all these pictures on there.
And most of the pictures are rubbish.
I don't take pictures. I don't take pictures. You know.
I take very few actually. I take very few.